right, it's day 3 of Mental Archive Bootcamp. This was a full 3-day live event, and I feel the last 2 days have been absolutely stellar. I'm so happy with all of the information that we've been able to go over and the questions you guys have been asking. Like, I feel like this event was so rich, and there's so many little gold nuggets in here. So I hope you've been having as much fun as I have, but we're not done yet. In today's presentation, we're going to go a little deeper, just like we did yesterday, on some examples, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle on it. So be prepared for that. We've gone over the introduction to the mental archive. Okay. Hopefully all of you have watched the day 1 and day 2 replays. They were sent out by email. Day 3, well, let's go back. Day 1 was the introduction to what the mental archive is and why it's so important to your ultimate mega seller success. There is not a single mega seller that does not have a big mental archive. Day 2 was mental archives and their connection to trend combining. We talked a whole lot about emotional connection yesterday, which is very important because emotions are what creates purchases. So people who are very good at creating sales are very good at creating emotional connection first. Day 3, which is today, is we're going to be talking about applying your mental archive to multiple levels of your business so you can level the fuck up. Okay. Mental archive is not just about designs. A lot of people, when they've heard me talk about it, they think it's just about researching designs and mastering demand, but that's actually not true. And also, when you think of it outside of print on demand, like I gave in the day 1 example, when I was talking about a mental archive as it relates to interior design, it relates to interior design and print on demand and basically any sort of skill or profession, in that the more experience you have in different areas of that profession, the more experienced you're going to get and the better you're going to do, for the most part, right? Generally speaking. So the same is for print on demand. And today we're going to be talking about the application of mental archives and the different areas that you can apply these. This is going to get really interesting. So I hope you guys stick with me through this whole thing. So expertise and mastery is required in all areas to create a giant, booming 100K and way beyond Etsy shop with print on demand. It is required that you build expertise and mastery. You don't get to just put a bunch of listings up and then cross your fingers and wait. You do not get to do that. But it's not just about building a mental archive for designs themselves. Okay, we're going to talk about mental archives for mockups. And we're not really going to talk about this, but I want you guys to think about the application as well for the mental archive as it relates to titles and tags, and then customer questions and feedback. That's all data and information when you're looking at other sellers' titles and tags, when you're listening to your customers and what they're telling you. That's all information that's getting stored in that subconscious place in your mind that you can draw upon at a later time to improve your business, right? It's all experience. So we're going to go through some mock-ups now. And we're going to do a little bit of brain priming in beginning with bad mockups. Okay. Now I want to give a little word about placeit.net. There are a lot of sellers who start out and they say, how do I do mockups? Where should I do mockups? You know, I'm on Placeit. I'm not really sure what to use because a lot of them don't look like I should be using them. And you're right. There are a lot of mockups on Placeit that are absolutely horrible. It's a good place to start. It's a great place to start, but you have to dig a little bit. And it's tricky because when you're new, you don't really know what a good mockup is. So you're going to find a lot of cheesy mockups on Placeit. My official recommendation nowadays is to get your mockups on Etsy. Type in whatever type of item you're wanting a mockup for. If you're selling Comfort Colors t-shirt, type in black Comfort Colors t-shirt mockup or whatever. It's so easy. There's so many mockups. I did not have that resource back in the day. All I was able to use was Placeit. So it's possible, but it's going to make your life a lot easier in terms of being able to create emotional connection if you're using Etsy mockups. I just want to side note that. So when we're talking about mental archives, I want to brain prime bad mockups here with you guys today, so we can store this information in our subconscious and begin to make the connections and be able to differentiate between a mockup that misses the mark in a mock-up that's highly emotionally connective and is going to help you sell your designs. Okay, so this first mock-up, I think most of these honestly are from Place It. This first mock-up, it misses the mark. We're missing the mark. If you look at something and it looks cheesy, if you look at something and it looks overly posed, if they look like a dork, like, I'm sorry, but those are not the types of mock-ups that are going to help you sell things. People want to see these items. Well, they don't even want to see them. They don't really know how this process works in their own brain. We're so just used to seeing great model photos. Like, look at Urban Outfitters, look at PacSun, look at Brandy Melville. All of their model photos, the people look cool. They don't look cheesy. They don't look overly posed. If we're talking about Zara, we're talking about a completely different thing. We won't even get into Zara. Their marketing plan with their models is completely different. But I'm talking about the type of trendy stuff that's going to sell your designs. Doesn't look cheesy, doesn't look overposed. It doesn't look like this photo here. It also doesn't look like this photo here. Why is she popping out of a teal wall of paper? Why is she making a peace sign over her eyes? Why is she randomly holding an orange cell phone that matches her orange earrings when she's wearing a white crew neck sweatshirt? Like, no. Okay, no, this does not work for me. Again, it's so corny. And if you've been kind of on the fence being like, I don't know, like maybe if it shows off the shirt well enough, it's okay to use corny mock-ups. I'm going to tell you it's really not. And it's very much so worth investing in good mock-ups that I'm going to show you examples of in a moment. We're just going through the bad ones. Why is she holding two oranges? Why is she making that face? Why is she so surprised by these oranges? What are these oranges saying? What are they doing? Also, it's a terrible mock-up. If you placed your design here, you wouldn't even be able to see the whole design. Like, she's holding her elbows in. What are we doing, Place It? There's so much potential and they're wasting it. So when you were seeing this mock-ups like this, holding up your credit card in a box, like, this is what sellers think people want to see. When we're making decisions about mock-ups, about our designs, about the way we're communicating with our customers in descriptions or wherever, text graphics, don't think like a seller. Think like your buyer. Think like a shopper. Get into the mode of like, if I were shopping on Etsy, what am I looking for? What points in the description do I want to read? What's important to me? What emotionally triggers me to be like, ooh, I need to put that in my cart. This picture's so weird. Why is he holding a credit card and why is he smiling like that? You know, it's thinking like the seller wants their buyers to have their credit cards out and ready to buy their package, right? It's totally missing the mark in terms of what shoppers are actually looking for with emotional connection. This one's also so weird. It feels uncomfortable. Okay. This is why we're brain priming today together, because I want you guys to get a sense of like what it feels like when you look at a mock-up, and you should start feeling this sense in terms of designs as well. What does it feel like when you look at it? When I look at this, I feel uncomfortable because I feel like this man was very uncomfortable when this photo was taken. Also, a terrible design. Don't choose mockups like this, right? So you might be saying, well, Brittany, what type of mockup should I choose? Now, I'm not necessarily saying you should use this mockup or any of the mockups that I'm about to show you, because there was an issue with too many sellers using the same type of mockup. I'm not at all going to address that. Even in questions afterwards, we had many discussions about it. You guys can ask in the Facebook group for other people to weigh in if you want. It's blown over at this point. I don't think too many people are getting in trouble for using common mockups nowadays, but by showing you guys these examples, I'm just showing you mockups to prime your brain for what works and not, oh, you should go find this specific mockup, right? Everything is not black and white. When I'm talking about stuff, I'm not saying go do this exact thing unless I say go do this exact thing, right? So this mockup has some controversy around it. I know, I'm not saying use it. I'm wanting you guys to prime your brain to understand the types of mockups that work. This happens to be a mockup that works really, 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 really well. And that's why absolutely every seller on Etsy started using it, right? Because it works. But why does it work? I think it's a combination of the perfect amount of things, right? Her hair is in it, looks very pretty, it's stylish. She's got a cute little tattoo on her arm that you can see that's kind of subtle. She's wearing a cute pair of distressed jeans, sort of textury jeans. There's just enough of her gold necklace showing to sort of zhuzh it up a little bit. But this is a type of mock-up that I would look at and be like, ooh, you know, that's my style. This looks pretty. This is something that I would want to wear. And I also think it's simple enough that it works across so many different niches. Like it's not too trendy. There's not too much going on. There's not too much lifestyle setting to where it doesn't work in particular things. People are using this from everywhere from faith-based to mental health to meme culture to Western, like every single niche I've seen this mock-up being used. One more time, guys. I am not telling you to go out and use this mock-up. We're breaking down the details of mock-ups that create sales and that work very well, but there's plenty of others, okay? This is another one. I don't know why on some of my photos, Canva desaturates them in my presentation, but this one is not supposed to be desaturated. None of these are supposed to be black and white, but whatever, you guys get the idea. This again is another great example. It's very similar to this one, right? It's just a little bit further out. You can see she's wearing a cute pair of jeans. She's got a little sweater around her elbows or her arms, her lower arms, which helps kind of create a more boho feeling. She's also got the gold necklace. She's got the pretty wavy hair that's cascading down her shoulders. It sets a really nice feeling for the t-shirt she's wearing. And there's a vibe, right? So when you're choosing mock-ups, what's the vibe? This one, I showed you guys this design yesterday, the really simple butterfly on the purple t-shirt. She's in the full size of this mock-up, she's holding a cute little white mug with an orange design on it, but she's got her little bracelets on. She also has the gold necklace, again with the wavy hair. If you're picking up on common themes here, you're correct in doing so, because these are the things that just sort of set a tone, set a feeling. And when people are shopping, they're shopping based on feelings. And so we're trying to evoke certain feelings, okay? Here's another one that was annoyingly desaturated, but a cute pair of jeans. We see a little bit of the hair. She's got one of her arms up. None of these are cheesy. None of these are corny. None of these are over posing. They're all just setting a vibe that's very like it girl, right? I use that word a lot when I teach mock-up stuff. It's a very trendy word as of late because of TikTok, but that's sort of when you're competing in the realm of women's fashion, presenting your clothing as the it girl approved type of stuff, you're gonna make sales, right? If your designs have demand and you're placing them in a way that sets the tone and a vibe of this is an it girl piece of clothing, you're gonna make sales. You're gonna resonate emotionally with your target audience, right? Here's another good one. Just wanted to show one example of like the back of a crew neck. The hair is not in the way. Her arms are out. It looks maybe like she was just spinning and being cute. She's walking on the sidewalk. It feels very lifestyle, right? It's very cute. And this might even have been edited. It looks like they put a different background in, which is totally fine. You can play around with your mock-ups that way as well. But again, she looks really cool, really chill. She maybe not even wearing pants. That's how cool she is, right? But just another example of the type of it girl vibe we're going for. So when you are brain priming for designs or for mock-ups or for anything, and as we've covered, you should be brain priming for every facet of your business. You should be looking to people who are already further down the line from you to model after and to take that information and put it in your subconscious to help you make better decisions down the road. You're observing details and paying attention to emotional connection. Just like I was talking about with these mock-ups, I broke it down. She's wearing the cute little bracelets. She's got the gold necklace on. You can see her wavy hair. Maybe she's posed in a really cute, relaxed, chill way. She looks like an it girl. And you want to continually be asking yourself things like, who would like this? Why would they like this? And in addition to that, what else might they like? This should always be running through your mind. If you guys have listened to my mega seller interviews, basically any of my mega seller interviews, there's quite a few at this point. You know, Tracy is one I always reference. She's an Australian seller who did $250,000 in her shop in 3 months at the beginning of last year. And she's still killing it in a massive way. She talked about in her interview how the majority of her time was spent stalking her customers. Like she has an Instagram account specifically to follow like lifestyle information about her customers. And she reads all the comments. She sees what they're up to, what they're doing on the weekends, what events they're going to, what they're mentioning that they like. Like she's made her customers a case study. And that's why she's a mega seller, you guys, not because she has the perfect SEO. She might, I don't know. She probably has good SEO because she's in Top Seller Secret, of course. But that's not why she's a mega seller. There's tons of sellers with perfect SEO that aren't even close to mega sellers because that's not what it's about. It'll help, but that's not what it's about. When I asked Tracy, or she was telling me, I should say, she was telling me the one thing that she decided to do once she was already making 6 figures. She said, okay, I want to turn up the heat. What can I do to do even better than I'm doing now? She's very ambitious. We love that about her. And everyone was saying in the comments while we were doing the live, like probably, oh, she turned ads on. She incorporated Pinterest. She started driving traffic from Instagram probably. And do you guys know what Tracy said? Tracy said, I doubled down on research. Because as a mega seller, she thinks like a mega seller. She knew, I don't need to drive traffic. I don't need to turn ads on. I don't need to do any of that stuff because the way that I've got here is by understanding my customer and building my mental archive. The way that I'll get further is by doubling down on what's already worked, which was researching and stalking my customers and making every decision I have based on them, not based on my preferences, not based on what I think I should do or what I want to do. She made every single decision based on her customers. And when she wanted to turn up the heat, she doubled down on what was already working. And guess what? It worked really, really, really well. And that's why I teach you guys what I do, is because this is the blueprint that actually works, but nobody believes it works until they do it and they start seeing the magic of it. And they're like, oh, why don't more people teach this? Because it's not something that is easy to convince people of. That's why more people don't teach it. But do we have all the evidence and proof and receipts in the world of the fact that it actually 110% does work? Yes, we do. Okay, so when you are brain priming, when you are actively building your mental archive, you're observing details and paying attention to emotional connection, thinking, why? And you don't have to go through, you don't have to do this so black and white in that you're going through mock-ups to prime your brain and you're saying, okay, she has on a silver necklace. Okay, she's showing her hair on 2 sides of her shoulders instead of one. Like, that stuff doesn't really matter. The reason why I broke it down for you guys is just to kind of help you understand that the details do matter, but you don't have to like choose mock-ups. If you see a mock-up and it's like, oh, she's not wearing a gold necklace, I can't use that. That's not what we're talking about. I'm not setting up rules for you guys. Sometimes, most times people want rules. They want me to give them, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. So things feel more certain and like they have definitive answers. But unfortunately for you guys, I'm not willing to give you rules because that is not how you will grow and expand. I want you to be able to absorb everything that you can and then make your best educated decision based on what you know, and then go for it. When you know better, you can do better. But until then, get very comfortable with uncertainty, absorb details, but don't play in the black and white area, because that's when people get confused. They get in their perfectionism. They get really tripped up because they're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is right or this is right. Or, oh, she's wearing a choker. And in all of the examples Brittany showed, she was wearing a longer necklace. Like, that's not what I'm talking about here. You do not need to think that way. We're looking at things broadly, but also just allowing our brain to absorb the details, but not making them definitive, okay? So this is where things start getting very interesting. I'm really excited to dive into this. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because I think it's one of those things that many people don't understand and have never even thought about. So trend combining It's a super hack. And trend combining is what we talked about yesterday in day 2, right? You haven't watched that replay, go back and watch it. It was great. However, putting a spin on popular trends, putting your own unique spin on popular trends that may already be oversaturated anyways, it is also a super hack, okay? But just like with trend combining, the smaller your mental archive is, when you haven't done a lot of research, when your mental archive is not, it's not growing because you're too focused on putting out designs because you want sales to happen faster, right? The smaller your mental archive, the more you will struggle with being able to put your own spin on anything. So when I'm showing you these next examples, you have to understand that all of this is rooted in your commitment to building a larger mental archive all the time. And I hope by day 3, I've convinced you of the importance of dropping basically everything else, dropping your attachment to outcome, dropping your desperate energy to get further faster, dropping your entitlement around the fact that you think you're owed sales for some reason just because you opened a shop, dropping the entitlement around, oh, why have I not made sales faster? Maybe Etsy doesn't work as well as they say. Etsy sucks, right? I said this in a live recently, and it was the toughest love I think I've ever given. And I said, Etsy does not suck. In most of those cases, when people are like, Etsy sucks, it doesn't work, it's too saturated. My response to that is, Etsy does not suck. You still suck. And that's not a bad thing, because everybody sucks in the beginning. It's a fact. It's a fact of the matter. It's just part of growth. It's part of evolution, is being able to get through the part that you suck at, and being okay with sucking and not making it mean anything about you, your competency, your potential, none of that. Okay. So when we're talking about trend combining or putting a spin on things, these are sort of probably more advanced than the level that you guys, if you're new here, then you're probably at. But I want you to learn it. So as you're priming your brain, as you're building your mental archive, you know that these are the things that will start to come naturally, that you need to hone your skill around in order to create bestseller badge after bestseller badge after bestseller badge. Putting a spin on things. I have some Instagram posts on this as well that are really good. If you guys are following me on Instagram, I highly suggest going down my feed and finding the posts about putting a spin on things. Maybe I'll post those to my story after somebody remind me in DMs. I'll post the post to my story, because I break down putting a spin on things, but I'm going to do that here as well. So I want to talk about and reiterate what I just said, in that the lesson that we've learned over and over again in the last 3 days has been what? Always be building your mental archive. Always. That never ends. Like I just said, Tracy was already at 6 figures. Mega seller Tracy, when she wanted to get beyond 6 figures, when she's like, this is cool, but I could do better, she didn't turn to tactics. She didn't throw money at ads. She said, I'm going to double down on I'm going to make my mental archive even bigger. I'm going to understand my customer even better. So doubling down on your expertise is always the way to grow further, faster. Turning on ads is the icing on the cake. It's going to get you you guys would be shocked at how little ad revenue comes in. Even when you're good at, when your ads are working, you guys would be shocked at how little impact ads actually make versus organic sales. Like I would be making 6 figures and maybe make $3,000, $4,000 in sales with my ads. And that's a whole other tangent, but I just want to shine some light on the fact that even if your shop is booming and you're doing all the right things with ads, it's going to be so marginal, so small of revenue compared to what you're doing organically if you're focusing on your expertise and building your mental archive all the time. Okay. And that's the same thing all of my mega sellers have reflected. Nobody has ever said, I got here with ads and ads are the majority of my revenue. I wouldn't have got here without ads. You will never hear somebody saying that, because it just doesn't work that way. Okay. So what we've learned over the last 3 days is that you always need to be building your mental archive, because it makes you better at everything. It makes you better. And when you become better, you create better results. You don't get results through tactics and quick things and shortcuts and all of this other stuff that everybody thinks is what creates sales. You create sales by becoming better and by evolving, okay? So what we don't want to do is recreate designs like this. Be kind, right? It's cute, it's retro. They did the alternating colors in the letters, and that's fine. I have nothing against this particular design. It's just not unique. This would be a great example of a oversaturated design that way too many people are already doing. You just don't have a shot. There's just way too many people already doing that stuff. So an example of putting a spin on this, what does a spin actually look like? It looks like starting with knowing something is in demand. Knowing something is what people are actually actively searching for, and then saying, how can I put a spin on this? And in a way, it could also be thought of as trend combining, right? How could I put a spin on this in a way that would differentiate my design from others and perhaps introduce it to a whole new sector of buyers? I already know it's trending, so how could I put a spin on it and make it even more trending? In this case, be kind turns into spread kindness like wildflowers. What is this doing? What's the genius happening here that maybe you would have no idea to even think about if you weren't a print-on-demand seller, right? It's that they're taking the really simple botanical trend. They're taking, there's been a lot of wildflower trending designs. It has to do with cottagecore, right? They're taking be kind and saying, okay, how could I make that into something different and unique and maybe target other people? They trend combine here with a spin. And instead of just straightforward, like somebody saying, okay, my spin is be kind to everyone. That's not emotionally connective. That's not going to help you. That's not being creative. That's just putting a spin for the sake of putting a spin, and it's very lazy, right? And you might say, well, that's all I could think of, Brittany. In that case, it would probably be because you have a small mental archive. Almost anything, any like excuses people have for me, I'm like, yeah, it's because you mental archive. They're like, no, but I feel like I can never think of this, or I don't feel creative, and I don't know. No, it's your mental archive. You can literally solve everything with just working on your mental archive. So being able to combine these design elements and then make be kind into spread kindness like wildflowers, it's genius. Okay. We're gonna go through a few more of these. The girl power shirt. This is overdone, right? The stacked lines of text with the filled in line of text in the center. It's tired, it's overdone. We see it enough, right? It's boring. So how do we take girl power and make it into something that gives us a shot at actually selling it, that makes it something unique? Strong like a girl, with this hand design element, and maybe putting it in the little girl niche, right? So we go from something as generic as girl power, and we think strong like a girl, right? So we're not just taking the phrase and adding another word to it, which in some cases you might be able to. Again, none of this is black and white. None of this has rules, but it's all about how efficient and effective you can be. So going from girl power to something with the same vibe that still represents girl power, but it's not with those words. Strong like a girl, with this cutest little design element. What they did with the font is really smart and cute. It's very kind of edgy, but also sweet, powerful, strong. That's the vibe it's giving off, right? This is a really good spin on girl power. But first, coffee. I'm so tired of seeing this everywhere, right? This is very generic. This is very oversaturated. It's boring. It's not unique. And these are the types of designs that new sellers will get on Etsy, and they'll see a bunch of them and be like, oh, that must mean a lot of people want them. I'm going to make my own but first coffee shirt. And it's okay because like, I'll just put it in a different color and maybe a different font. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. That'd be really fun and easy if it worked that way. It doesn't work that way. So how can we put a spin on but first coffee? How about staying alive, incorporating a skeleton, which has been really trendy lately, making it feel vintage, making it feel a little mystical, have the skeleton holding a coffee cup, right? It's like kind of funny, kind of a play on meme culture, but we've got retro in there. The color choices are very vintage and retro. Again, showing another example of the same, instead of but first coffee, weekends coffee in my doodle. Notice here, weekends coffee in my doodle. All of a sudden, we're still in the coffee niche, but we're also targeting doodles. We're also targeting doodle people. We just took one trend and introduced a whole other sector of shoppers into that trend. So one person might like coffee. What if another person likes coffee and doodles? Now they've got a unique design that's going to speak to them on a very emotional level, because we've got a couple things happening here that they're into, right? So spins require creativity. I will not sit here and bullshit you guys and tell you that putting your own spin on things is easy, because it's not. It absolutely requires, it begs of you that you are creative and that you think outside of the box, and that you're not recreating what you're seeing. You're like a fairy godmother transforming a design into a completely new creation, something completely different, possibly with a totally different vibe, right? This feels very different than this. But first coffee feels very different. This is a whole different sector of people. This is a whole different audience between the two, but there's still crossover there. I hope this is landing and making sense, because this is a huge conversation when it comes to achieving mega seller status. That's why I always tell you guys, there's no shortcuts to this stuff. You got to build your mental archive and learn and stretch your creativity at any possible chance you get in order to practice it. Because becoming a mega seller will require that level of effort from you. And if you're not willing to put it in, you don't deserve the results of being a mega seller. You get the results that you deserve. And this is the effort that counts. Another example of a spin on the but first coffee design: drink coffee, read books, be happy. Wouldn't you notice? What have we combined here? The coffee niche, book core, and be kind. We've got 3 trends in one now, all on one t-shirt. And it's very unique. It's very simple, but we're appealing to a whole lot more people now in a niche that isn't oversaturated. I hope you guys are getting light bulb moments galore, because this is the stuff that counts. I truly mean that. Coffee gets me started. Jesus gets me going. We've got the Christianity niche. We've got faith-based now, and we've got coffee. Coffee gets me started. Jesus keeps me going. These are the types of quotes and designs that you always want to be filling your subconscious with, to give you those little sparks of like, oh, I saw this somewhere. I could put a different spin on it this way, or do that. Or, you know, like, you can't do that if you've got a small mental archive. You're going to be confused and frustrated all the time. So this is the stuff that you want to pay attention to. So 3 months down the road, you could be like, oh, I saw that t-shirt. I could use this part of that here and put that puzzle piece here. And you're just making all these little connections, right? Fueled by iced coffee and anxiety. Now we're in the mental health niche. Now we're attracting coffee lovers and mental health advocates, or people that want to make fun of themselves for their mental health state or condition, right? Anxiety is like the anxiety mental health t-shirts, huge on Etsy. Coffee t-shirts, huge on Etsy. Why would we not combine those two in a really interesting and unique way? You should, right? It makes total sense when you think about it. So to get better at putting a twist on designs, on trend combining, on creating designs that are actually in demand, basically everything. I said this yesterday as well, but we're going to reiterate. The most important thing is that I hope you guys are listening to me right now. If you had kind of zoned out, if you're cooking dinner, if you're on your phone, please listen to what I'm about to say. Attention. You need to prioritize building your mental archive and stop looking for tactics that are going to make your sales happen faster. Because what you're doing by always looking for another tactic, like I could sit here and teach this whole 3 days, and you guys are still going to ask me about ads. You're still going to ask me about running sales. You're still going to ask me about a newsletter. Because you could hear me talk all day about building your expertise and you're still not going to fully buy into it, right? Because that's not how we're conditioned. It is how it works, but that's not how we're conditioned to believe things work. But I'm sitting here telling you I have all the proof, and I'm going to do my damnedest for as long as I need to convince you guys that this is how you win. It's not about the tactics. It's really truly not about the tactics. Strategic things will help support you, like SEO, your descriptions, your mockups, all that stuff is important as a supporting role. But your expertise in building your mental archive is the differentiating factor between a non-mega seller and a mega seller, period. Not ads, not driving traffic, not getting more people to look at your crap that nobody wanted to begin with. Right? That's what everybody always wants to do. How do I drive more traffic? You can drive all the traffic in the world. If people are landing on your listings and they don't want them anyways, then what the hell are we here for? Eyeballs aren't what matters. Creating and selling designs that have high demand that people are clamoring for, that they can't wait to get in their carts. That's what matters. It's fully possible to attract shoppers and not have to chase them. But everybody is so busy chasing that they never stop to take a moment to focus on building their expertise. And like I said, I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face all day, every day. I basically do already. I talk about the same stuff in everything that I do. I just package it in different ways to try to get it into your brain in at a different angle, right? Because I've had people following me for years. And they'll be in a live and they'll say, Brittany, I've heard you say this so many times, but you said it in this way today and something finally clicked. So I'm always dedicated to saying the same stuff over and over and packaging it different ways to help reach as many people as possible and help them get that click, because this is really the stuff that makes all the difference. Okay, so you guys, we've still got the special running for if you want to get Research Revolution Masterclass to help you understand exactly how to brain prime and build your mental archive on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Etsy. It covers everything. And not only does it show you how to do it, it shows you how to take that inspiration and actually turn it into designs. The bundle is still happening. And it is $197 for just a couple hours more because this is the last day. So a Research Revolution and Design Like a Mega Seller together for $197 today. They're $149 individually. I'm going to post the link in a second in the chat. And then just a few more hours on the Top Seller Secret special as well. I'm doing an entire week of lives, the second week of February, for Top Seller Secret students only, where I'm talking about exactly what I would be doing on Etsy if I were trying to build an explosive multi-six-figure shop right now. These are all the topics, you guys. I've been through this a couple of times now the last few days. I just wanted to go over it one more time in case anybody missed it. I'm going to be talking about what I'd be doing with mockups, with SEO, with designs, with trends, with my shop aesthetic and branding. It's going to be so much fun because this is obviously what I love talking about the most. And I'm going to spill all the tea. I also want to mention, you guys, I totally forgot. Afterpay is available with Top Seller Secret. I don't know why I'm not screaming this from the rooftops. Literally anybody can get into Top Seller Secret for as low as $86 a month. Basically, you can join today with Afterpay. That Afterpay, it's built into the checkout with the link that I'm going to give you guys. It's an option that you choose at checkout. It's so easy. So if you're worried about like pay in full or all that sort of stuff, and you can't make that one single payment, you can use Afterpay at that same checkout. Okay. All right. I am so excited to get back to you guys here. Let me stop sharing my screen. How are you guys feeling? It's like dating, attract, not chase. Exactly. Attract, not chase is my favorite phrase from this live. Yeah, I say that all the time. It's a really important thing to not be in your chasing energy, because that's when you're just trying to grab at things. How was today, you guys? How are you feeling? Love it when we go through examples. This is great. Good. Awesome. I always wonder if trying to bring traffic but not converting to sales hurts your shop. I mean, I don't pay attention to conversion rates. I just say stop trying to bring traffic to your shop altogether and it won't be a problem, right? Always love the examples and love trying to trend combine, but sometimes just feel intimidated. But Charlie, I think at that point, we have to just ask ourselves, intimidated by what? You're afraid to get something wrong? So you do a trend combination and you list the product and nothing happens. Who cares? So like, I think it really helps to ask yourself, what am I intimidated by? Let me just try this and allow it to be messy and imperfect and probably suck. And let's just do it, right? Let's just see, because the more I do it, the better I'm going to get. But if I don't do it to begin with, I'm going to stay in the sucky spot that I'm at and never get better, right? So I hear you. I know how you feel, but I want you to take those moments of pause when you're feeling intimidated about doing something like this and say, wait a minute, what is there to be intimidated by? What am I actually afraid of? Because intimidation is connected directly to fear. What am I afraid of happening? There's literally nothing that can go wrong. It doesn't sell. Okay. I won't even think about it. That's why I tell you guys, publish listings and never think about them again. Because if they work, you're going to know that they're working because you're going to see them in your sales. If they don't work, you don't need to pay attention to them anyways. You can literally be gone. Never think about them again. What's the monthly membership you have again? So the monthly membership I have is Wolf School. It is $67 per month, and it has every week there's weekly trend spotting content. And there is a group coaching call as well. There's a design workshop, there's a mindset and motivation week, and then there's 1 week dedicated to a specific trend that I break down. The first week of the month is dedicated to me going through bestsellers on Etsy and breaking down all the trends that I'm seeing. I will announce here today, February is going to be a double content month in Wolf School. I do this like 2 or 3 times a year. I just turn up the heat and I post 2 things of content every week, all February. It's going to be 30% off for new members only. So if you've never been in Wolf School, it's going to be 30% off starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 1st. And I'm going to send out an announcement about that. But the double content months are massive. It's like the craziest amount of content you can get for the crazy lowest amount of money. Because it's going to be 30% off as well. Great to see examples. Thanks for doing that. I get frustrated when I can't find the mockups I want. Do you make your own? No, I think there's just there's so many amazing ones on Etsy, Joanne. If you're not finding ones you want, honestly, you might be being a little too picky, because it's endless resources on Etsy. What's your sign? I'm a Libra. Seeing all the poopy mockups versus the great mockups is so helpful. Amazing. I'm glad you like that, Jennifer. I've noticed that Placeit is doing a lot of AI mockups. What are your thoughts on those? My instinct is to stay away, even if I find non-cheesy ones. I don't know why people are scared of AI. I don't have a problem with AI at all. If it's something that will help your business, why not? If it doesn't have 16 fingers, who cares, right? If it's non-cheesy, if it's a good mockup, 100% use it. It's like, I think people think it's like cheating or something. And it's like, no, if something works, just use it. I have 0 issues with AI. I love that you keep repeating these lessons until we get it and remember. What's the difference between Wolf School and Top Seller Secret? So Casey, Top Seller Secret is a master course. It's got all of my strategic foundation in it, my E-rank strategy, my SEO, my scientist, detective, gymnast phase in terms of how to scale your shop, how to grow, how to choose products based on data, lots of database decision-making. It's everything everyone should start with, so you don't waste a single second of your time in reaching that mega seller status. Wolf School is a trend spotting membership. So it's monthly. You're getting weekly content. You're paying month to month. You can quit anytime though. And I call Wolf School the building blocks. So they're basically the bricks that you're using to continue building your shop on the foundation that you set with Top Seller Secret. OMG, I'm so ready for Wolf School. I need to hear all this continuously to keep reminding myself. Otherwise I fall to the dark side. I hear you. Literally listen to Brittany and all of the courses I bought while I design, even though I've heard them 100 times, just straight up motivational. Yeah, you guys, I highly encourage you to always repeat, listen to stuff that helps you. I do the same thing. Yeah, 30% off Wolf School for 1 month, only for new members in February. Double content in the 5-day TSS lives. Yeah, it's going to be massive. I don't like AI because their faces look effing weird. So I've seen AI mockups that look great. I didn't even know they were AI. So yeah, of course, you guys, that's common sense. If anything about the model looks weird, probably don't use it, right? But like, otherwise, if you can't tell, like, they're fine. There's no reason for us to be like, oh, no AI. Cause like, who cares if they're good? I've seen quite a few good ones on Etsy. Okay. I love AI and teach people Midjourney and ChatGPT, but I haven't used it for mockups yet. Yeah, I think it's great. It's still very new. I think it's going to get so much better in the coming months, or years, especially, but I don't have a problem with it. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what we went over today? I saved a little bit of time at the end here for us to be able to dive deeper if anybody has any questions. If you have any questions about my offers, about Top Seller Secret, about the new Design Like a Mega Seller course, or anything that we went over today in terms of mockups, in terms of your mental archive, is everybody researching? I want to ask that, like, since you've been in these 3 days, tell me you guys have been a little bit more inspired to dive into building the mental archive, a little bit more dedicated to brain priming and researching and diving deeper into that. Because if you're doing that, then I'm doing my job correctly. Research 2 hours today. Love to hear that, Amy. Wolf School helped me start brain priming or start researching. Great, Rain. That's awesome. Laura says on Instagram, brain priming right now. Perfect. Research has gone through the roof over the last week. Good. That means you're making the connection, right? And I always say, yes, Design Like a Mega Seller will be available after the offer is done, but it will only be available at the $149 price. I go to work, I brain prime, and I go to bed tired. Good. I always say when somebody says to me, like Brittany, I am obsessed with research. It's all I ever want to do. It's so much fun. Immediately, I'm like, 6-figure seller trajectory. See you soon. You will be a 6-figure seller. Like, it's guaranteed. If they stick with that energy, and if they're having so much fun researching, if they're so dedicated to building that mental archive, their trajectory is set. They're good to go. It's only a matter of time. 1,000,000 fucking %. I'm not joking around about this. I'm manifesting and it's my year. That's amazing. I love to hear that, Bree. Good. That's why we do this specific live event. It's to get you guys stoked on the idea of building your mental archive. It's the most important thing. And if I can convince you of that, and you can maintain that energy and you can dedicate yourself to it, you're gonna see progress. And I want you guys to see progress. You hear me all the time talking about, like, detach from the outcome, stop worrying about your sales, do this and do that. So some people might be like, then what are we even here for, Brittany? She talks about not wanting to make sales. My entire goal is to help you guys reach the 6-figure mark. My entire business revolves around helping get you results. But the paradox here is that we've got to detach you from the results in order to get you them, because I have to convince you it's not about tactics, because it's not. It's not about ads. It's not about driving traffic. And there's still people, there's 97 of you in here in this Zoom right now. There's still, I'd say probably half of you aren't buying it. You don't believe it still because you haven't lived it yet. And that's okay. I'm going to say it as many times as I need to convince you. I'm researching 2 hours a day at least. I'm so curious. In Top Seller Secret, is there a list somewhere in the course that tells me what Instagram accounts to follow, or is that only in Wolf School? Only Wolf School. Only Wolf School has a designated Instagram account. I research at night while my kids finally go to bed, and I have a hard time sleeping because my brain is exploding. Ivana, that's a great problem to have. We'd love to hear it. Just make sure you're saving everything that you're finding. If something inspires you, pin it, screenshot it, whatever you need to do, save it so you can go back later. Usually after I brain prime, my brain works so quick with putting the designs together that my hands can't catch up. Hannah, incredible. We love to hear that. That's perfect. That's how it should happen. You should be, that's inspired action, right? The problem with a lot of people is they sit down and they stare at a blank canvas in Canva and they don't know what to do. It's just like, I don't even know where to start or what to make or whatever. I'm putting the link, by the way, you guys, to the Top Seller Secret, Design Like a Mega Seller, and the Research Revolution, the bundle, in the chat right now. So if you need that link, it's right there. They say, I stare at the Canva canvas and I have no idea what to do. And I say, okay, that's not inspiring, right? You're not going to create anything good from a place of forcing something to come together. If you can't even wait, like when I brain prime, when I'm researching, I can't wait to get into Canva because my brain is, it feels like it's exploding with ideas. I'm like, oh, I have to do this. It's going to be so fun. It's going to look so good. I got to see how I can put these pieces together. And that's when you create really incredible stuff. But when you're sitting there from a place of force and you're not acting from inspired action, you're going to create stuff that sucks. It's not going to emotionally connect. It's coming from a place of force, and your results are going to reflect that. So we got to get you guys excited. We got to get you into playing. I talked about this in the last live that I did in the Wolves Challenge, 2024 Wolf Challenge today. That was the last live topic, is play more. Stop taking things so seriously. Have more fun. Give yourself permission to play, you know, because that's really what it's all about. That's the unlock to your creativity. If you're not playing, then you're forcing. If you're forcing, your creative valve is shut and you're not going to create anything meaningful that emotionally connects with people. How long approximately before you start remembering what you saw? I tend to forget what I saw during research. I know it sounds weird, but it happens. I do save stuff, but just wondering. Yeah, this is not a black and white thing. It's it's you don't have to remember what you saw. That's black and white, right? You don't have to remember what you saw. Your subconscious knows stuff. So it's much more broad in that you sit down with a general idea of what you want to create. And as you're making decisions about what design elements you want to use or what words to what quotes, whatever, you're making these decisions quite effortlessly. And you're not like, what was that one thing I saw that I want to copy? Because you're not copying anything. You're just pulling on your mental archive and you're using like the general vibe of things that you remember seeing. And you're not sitting down and being like, what was that thing I need to remember? When I say pin things so you remember them, I don't mean remember specific things. I mean, remember that it was inspiring so you can go back to reference what inspired you, you know? Hope that answers your question. What I love most about Top Seller Secret is that the info is fire and you never gatekeep. The Facebook group is amazing and the wins are real and recent. I've been in groups where the coach gives you outdated info and proof of wins, then tells you to figure it out when you get stuck on something. I appreciate that you respond with real and helpful answers. Thank you, Anna. That is very sweet of you. And yeah, you guys know I keep it real. I always keep it real. And I'm never going to let anything go out of date. Like this is my reputation. And I actually, even more important than that, because I don't really give a shit about my reputation, I actually want to help you guys. Like that's the only reason I do this. I genuinely want you to win. And I know I have the equation that helps people win. And so the more people that I can reach to help them win, the happier I am. And that's why I keep it so real, is because my only goal is to help you guys get to where you want to go. When you see quotes on Instagram and put them on a t-shirt, do you change the wording of the quote or you should just copy the quote as is? That's absolutely not a black and white thing. I mean, sometimes maybe if it's not copyrighted and it's something that you haven't seen anywhere, there's a million variables that would go into that decision. Most of the time you want to change things. You don't ever just want to copy whatever you see, but there have been times where I've seen a really good quote and it's somebody that like a public figure that's now in the public domain that's free to use. And I'm like, ooh, I'm using that. So it just fully and totally depends. A million different variables. How do you search on Insta? I mean, what are you meant to type? Because I've landed totally somewhere else at times. Get into Research Revolution. I show you exactly what you're looking for. Get into Wolf School to follow the accounts, because you're not really typing anything in. You're following accounts that are inspiring, and I show you exactly how to do that. I break it all down in Research Revolution. Join Top Seller Secret this evening. So excited to start with coffee. My cat's in my kitchen. I love that. Love that, Leanne. Welcome in. You're not going to be disappointed. I can guarantee it. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're just going to keep today at an hour. I don't want to go over anymore because I feel like we've covered a lot of great stuff and it is something we can just leave it here. For me, the research part has got me into niches or stuff that are very out of my comfort zone, and I love it. That's amazing, Ivana. Yeah, you guys stretch yourself, stretch your creativity, get outside of your comfort zone, give yourself permission to play and to have fun and to try stuff. Don't be scared. Don't let fear get in the way of anything. You can't mess it up. You can list a bunch of stuff that doesn't work, and like I continue to say, couldn't matter less. If it works or not, doesn't matter. You just keep going until you find the stuff that does work. Is Research Revolution a course or just one masterclass? It is a course. There's multiple videos inside of the course. If you go to the main Research Revolution sales page, which you can find on the link that I'm putting in the chat right now, beawolfbiz.com/special offer, you can read the sales page of everything that's inside Research Revolution. It's pretty jam-packed. And I just added in 2024, just a couple weeks ago, a brand new Instagram research video. So I just did it. And then I created some designs based on that research. It's like 30 minutes long. I put it in the bonus section. It's worth the price of the course itself. The week in February you're talking about, is that just for new Top Seller Secrets or all? All Top Seller Secret students, if you're already in Top Seller Secret, you'll have access. I only came to this session. I didn't receive the previous emails for day 1 or day 2. Is there a way to access them? Aisha, I'm going to be posting them on my Instagram account, and I will send out an email today. You'll want to join my email list. When you guys see the link anywhere to join my email list, please just join it. Everybody always says, oh, I didn't get the replays, I'm not getting emails. You have to sign up at that link when you see it. I know not everybody's seen it, but always sign up at that link. Will you add them to Top Seller Secret? No, it's not a part of Top Seller Secret. It's a part of Research Revolution. But email for day 3. Oh, that's weird if you didn't get the previous days. Okay, yeah, the emails are very strange. So there will be a replay for day 3 going out in probably an hour. I'll include the replays for the other days as well for those of you that missed it. But definitely get into the special offers. You guys, a few hours left on that bundle deal between Research Revolution and Design Like a Mega Seller, and then a couple hours left on the Top Seller Secret 5-day live too. Okay, this has been incredible. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for this 3-day live. It's been the best. This is my favorite workshop to run, and I hope you guys have got a lot from it.